It's Lucas from the SLife Show, the channel for vegan fitness recipes and tips, and today we're making a high protein tofu scramble. Now the first step, we always talk about this on the channel, but it's so important, is to prepare everything mise en place. So that means that you have all of your ingredients ready, especially when you're making something like a vegan omelette or vegan scrambled egg. You just want to put all of the ingredients while you're cooking. You don't want to be cutting while you're making the omelette, because then it's really going to screw up the entire process. And that's why have everything ready, and it makes everything a lot easier. So I'm using some firm tofu. You could also use silken tofu, which you can usually find at the Asian supermarket, and it's going to give the scrambled tofu a lot more creaminess in the texture. And in order to replicate that, I'm also using some soy yogurt in this case. And I'm going to start by frying the onions and the garlic in a pan. And then we're adding all of the other ingredients. So we're just going to fry the onions and the garlic for a couple of minutes until they become translucent. And then we're adding all of the other ingredients. Make sure to put the pan on medium-high heat because you don't want them to burn in the beginning. So to get scrambled tofu, it's super easy. You just take the tofu like this and then you tear it apart with your hands. And you decide how big you want the chunks to be. I want them to be pretty small. I'm also going to add some smoked tofu later. And this is really going to make the dish super amazing, because smoked tofu is just so delicious. It adds so much flavor. And if you don't find smoked tofu where you live, then you can also add some smoked paprika spice, for example, because that also adds a little bit of that smoky flavor. And now keep in mind that tofu has a lot of water in it. So this is going to be frying for a little bit. So for the color, I'm also adding a pinch of turmeric. But really just a little bit. You don't want the turmeric to overpower the entire dish, because it does have a pretty strong flavor. Then I'm also adding some black pepper, of course. I'm adding a little bit of soy sauce, because you could add salt, but I prefer to use soy sauce because it also adds some umami flavor and it's just super delicious. Now at this point we can also add the other ingredients. You can add any vegetables that you like. I have some cherry tomatoes that I cut into small cubes, then also some bell pepper that I cut into small cubes. Add a little bit of spinach, about a handful, because we all know that when you add spinach, it looks like a lot, but afterwards when you fry it, there's not going to be a lot left. And then I'm also adding about a handful of smoked tofu. Then just stir everything up. I'm going to add a little bit more soy sauce. So now I'm also adding in some of the yogurt. And of course, if you want, you could also add some Kcal namak, some black salt, which is very high in sulfur, and it has this really egg-like flavor. I personally don't like it, but feel free to use it. So just add a pinch of it because it's very strong. And then the magic vegan ingredient that not only adds a lot of additional protein, but also a lot of umami and cheese-like flavor, some nutritional yeast. You don't want to add too much because you don't want it to taste like cheese. This is still tofu scramble, but it just adds some really delicious flavor. So about 1 tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons, up to you. Then you scramble it like this. And you can see that the texture is really, really juicy. And this is because of the soy yogurt that we added. So about 10 minutes later, it's pretty much ready. And you can see that the texture is really juicy, really moist. This is going to be super, super delicious. And you can spread this, of course, on some toast. In Germany, we have the super delicious high protein bread that I usually like to put in the toaster. And then you can put this on top because it doesn't have a lot of carbs, doesn't have a lot of fat, but it's super high in protein. So there you go. In less than 20 minutes, you have a super delicious and very high protein vegan breakfast recipe. Please let me know how you like it. If you liked the video, please leave a like and a comment below. Subscribe to the channel and see you next time.